Hit. Hey everybody, so back at the range again today. Today I'm going to be trying out the KNS adjustable piston in my SAM7K. From my previous videos you may have seen, I started off getting an adjustable piston from my barrel because when I shot them in fast strings of fire, the barrel really pushed me around, whereas the SAM7K did not, which seems surprising because you would think out of a short little barrel like this, this would definitely have more recoil to it. One of the things I did notice though, it's like, hey, you know, if I can get this to shoot softer, the better. And while it is a pretty smooth shooter with the factory piston, it does definitely launch the empties pretty far. So I'm going to drop in some video of me previously shooting this where I really wasn't paying a lot of attention. You don't get a really good view of how far it really gets thrown with the OEM piston. I'm going to drop it in there anyway. Right now I have the KNS piston adjusted completely closed, and I'll take some note as to how far the shells are being ejected. So here goes. All right, so as you can see, some of them went a little bit further than others. Kind of went over in this area right here, really not too far away. One thing that I can say for certain, just from shooting this previously with the OEM piston, is even with the KNS being fully closed, it definitely has less throw than it had with the OEM where it was really launching them. When I was here before, shooting side by side, this thing was launching them over on top of that green container and on top of this awning behind me. So even fully closed, there was a difference with the KNS. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this. I think I'm going to start with 10 clicks to see how the ejection, how short it is, and then also does it stay reliable. All right, so I did forget to mention the ammo that I'm shooting right now is this Wolf Black Box 122 grain hollow point. I haven't shot this before, or at least not in recent memory. From my previous videos, you may have remembered that the Wolf Military Classic 124 grain hollow point is what I do the majority of my testing with, or I should say that's my cartridge of preference, since I have the most of it. Though now I have about just as much as this Wolf 122 grain. So I'll compare both along with some Tula, because from what I've seen with the various ammo that I had, the Tula was the weakest. So have this adjusted, 10 clicks open. Let's see how reliability and ejection is. Okay, so looks like most of them landed about right here. Pretty good. Again, 10 clicks open. I'm going to go ahead and try to adjust it down another 5, so 15 open total. Now we're a total of 15 clicks open. So super interesting. Got a double tap there, but as you saw, stayed reliable at 15 clicks open. All right, back to 15 clicks open. Interesting. Back to where we were. Again, chambers around, but not enough to cycle it. All right, so like a dummy, when I was recording at the range, getting towards the final adjustments of the K&N piston, I forgot to put my lapel mic back on, so you can't hear anything that I'm saying. But what I ultimately ended up getting to was that when I was shooting three different types of ammo. I was shooting the Tula, I was shooting the Wolf Black Box 122 grain hollow point, and the Wolf Military Classic 124 grain hollow point. I knew the Tula was going to be the weakest, and I was using the 122 Wolf for the majority of the shooting, and then trying it between the 124, and they seem to be about equal, with ejection, with strength, you know, powder burn, all that type of stuff. So I wanted to get the KNS piston adjusted down to what I did with the Baril, which was knowing that that's my weakest ammo. I wanted it to be reliable with the Tula, and then I would just live with the, you know, very little bit of over gassiness with when I'm running Wolf, you know, the Black Box or the Military Classic, because it is still dramatically less than what you get with the OEM piston. You see, I do have the magazine in here, but it's not loaded, and the reason I'm using this is because this magazine has a blast round bolt hold opening, follower in it, but there you can see the KNS piston there. Drilling this one out was definitely a lot easier than my Baril. I don't know if the camera is going to show it, especially when I'm shaking the camera, but the rivet, or I should say the countersink for the rivet in the piston or in the carrier, was a bit elongated, so it was a lot easier to find. Here is the OEM piston that came out of it. I have it wrapped in duct tape because when I was unscrewing it, I had to put some pliers on it, and I didn't want to mar up the surface just in case I ever want to go back to this. But overall, what I got this thing down to, and what was kind of strange, is while I was using the stronger Wolf ammo, I was able to get it all the way to 15 clicks open, and it was cycling and staying reliable. Once I started using the Tula, I found obviously it was a lot less. But what was really weird was that I could not get it to cycle again after I started tuning it down for the Tula. I think I was down to like 10 clicks, and I started using the Wolf ammo again, and it would not reliably cycle around. And what it was doing, it was ejecting and it was loading a new cartridge, but it was not cycling the bolt far enough back to reset the hammer. That was really weird how I could get it all the way down to 15, but then I couldn't get it past 10. So I don't really understand what's going on with that. Maybe just because the newer pistons started getting dirtier. I don't know, can't explain it. But what I ultimately got this thing down to before I left the range was just 3 clicks open in order to reliably cycle the Tula. And I left it like that. And as I'm going back and looking at some of the footage now, and I'm going to go ahead and drop it in, even though I'm talking, you're not going to be able to hear anything because, again, I didn't have my lapel mic on. But for the final run, what I did was I loaded up one magazine with 5 rounds each of the 3 different types of ammo. So what you're going to see is that the first 5 rounds is the Tula, and you're definitely going to notice that it ejects a lot shorter than the Wolf that's behind it. So you get 5 rounds of Tula, 5 rounds of Wolf 122 grain hollow point, and then the last 5 rounds are of the Wolf Military Classic 124 grain. And let me go ahead and roll that, and then I'll come right back in. Similar distance. So my thinking at the time again was to have it adjusted so that it would cycle weak ammo like Tula. Well, now that I'm home and I'm looking at the video and I'm comparing it to when I first ran the piston, you know, wide or fully closed, the ejection pattern isn't terribly different than it is with having 3 clicks open of where I ended up leaving it. And then I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I'm like, well, I used up the rest of my Tula, and I really don't think that there's going to be very much more of that available, at least anytime soon, with the Russian ammo embargo. But even if it does, the bulk of the ammo that I have is all of that Wolf. It's almost split evenly between it's like 11,000 rounds between the 122 grain hollow point and the 124 grain Wolf Military Classic. So next time I go to the range, probably going to go ahead and adjust this one back closer to 10 clicks, or at least wherever I can get it to run reliably. Again, can't explain why I could get it to 15 before, but then couldn't get it to 10. I'll get it to the point where it's like at the hairy edge of reliability, and then close it off just a couple clicks to make sure that it's good to go. But overall, that is my experience with the KNS adjustable piston and the SAM7K. Like I mentioned in the video in the beginning of it, you know, when I was previously at the range at that same lane that you saw me in the video, it was launching those empties clear on top of that green container and on top of that awning. And just changing to the KNS over the OEM and having it fully closed, it just hits it to the edge of that container, just a little bit shy of it. So even fully closed, it did make adjustments on the fee or the throw of the ejection. Hard to say the felt recoil, how that was, because it's been a couple weeks since I last went to the range and shot it with the OEM piston in it, but at least based on ejection, it is definitely throwing it. So, you know, I think that should say that that's definitely going to be a little bit softer. So if you have a SAM7K and it launches empties into the stratosphere, you could definitely probably benefit from getting one of these KNSs, even if there's not ejection on there, or I should say, even if it's soft shooting, but you are launching them, you can at least cut down the ejection, which you know is going to be a little bit easier onto the receiver and the internals, you know, just beating itself. And I'm sure at the same time, there is going to be some effect on recoiling on that, just due to the less violent reaction that you're getting from the gun with the OEM piston. So hope it helped any of you Arsenal SAM7K owners out there. You know, they say the KNS pistons aren't, you know, they don't work for every single AK, but judging by the ejection, they can be a benefit. So, you know, if getting one of these is a stretch to your wallet, I would say that, you know, I don't think it was anything dramatic, but if you know, you want to spend the money on it, there is improvement to be made, at least based on my SAM7K. So thank you very much for watching the video. Again, I hope to help some of you guys out there. See you in the next one. Thanks.